This episode of the CMS Network is brought to you by our sponsor, Blackout Coffee. If you are a coffee lover, you will love what they are selling over at Blackout Coffee. Make sure you get yourself some. The only thing woke about this company is the drinker of the coffee, because it gives you quite a jolt. I am a personal fan of the Brutal Awakening Dark Roast, but everybody's a little bit different. Make sure you get what is your favorite today. Go to blackoutcoffee.com. Use the promo code CHRIA20 to save 20% on your first order. It's that simple. So one more time, blackoutcoffee.com. That is the link, or use the full link if you're going to shop around. That is scrolling on the bottom, and get yourself some of the best coffee that is out there today. blackoutcoffee.com.
Hi, this is Ian Hill from Judas Priest, and you're watching CMS TV.
Like that, don't you, Seth?
I love that. I actually told you yesterday I've been listening to all the music. It was fantastic. Good stuff.
Very good. Well, let's bring him on. He is the singer of the band Sons of Silver. He is Peter Argyropoulos. Peter, how are you, brother?
Good. How you doing, Chris?
Good, man.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I just want to get this off. I'm judging by your last name. I'm going to say you are Peruvian.
Irish.
Gotcha.
We dropped the O. My family dropped the O when they came over to the States to shorten it a bit, you know.
Really?
Nice.
Well, nice to meet you. Good to have you on.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It's great to be here.
Dude, I feel like I've been following the rise of Sons of Silver literally since you were demoing. It seems like what is this, our third or fourth time doing this?
You have. You were there at the very beginning, Chris. I mean, if not the first, second, third interview. I mean, you definitely get street creds for that.
Thank you.
I don't know what they're worth, but
not much. Not much, man. But it's been fun watching you guys grow, and honestly, man, it's fun watching you develop the sound. I think you've used the EPs and the time and the member changes and stuff to really hone what you were doing. I don't think you sound very different, but I think you do have growth and difference as you run into the debut Runaway Emotions. So talk a little bit about that, man. Do you feel like it's changed and developed and grown? Do you feel different now than you did, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, whatever it was?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely grown. It's grown in a direction or a sound that we wanted, which is just, a little bigger, more confident, meant for big stages. That's what I meant by bigger, and pretty, as far as the music's, we've pushed our out of our safe zone while not getting getting caught up in what the trends are. We kind of do our own thing, borrowing from the past, borrowing from what's going on, and stay in our own lane. And that's it's been good. It's been, we had the one lineup change with drummers, with our original drummer Dave Cruzen leaving after the first 2 LPs, and then Mark Slutsky joining the band for this. I'm sorry, after the first 2 EPs, and then Mark Slutsky joining for this LP, and it was, what we thought was going to be a horrible experience ended up being a seamless transition, and it took us to new heights. So it's been great.
So, yes, I hate to admit this, but I was stealing money from you because I was listening to you on Spotify.
Wait, no, I think I saw that check. I got like 8 rubles.
Well, I'm glad I could contribute to that. But I was listening to your stuff, and it has a good sound. Where did you get your sound from? Because I couldn't put my finger on what the sound is, but I love it. I mean, it's a good. I don't know how to describe that kind of rock.
It's some folks have called it neoclassic rock, which is kind of odd to me.
Well, no, because I could hear that classic rock feel. I said to my wife, I hear like a Bob Seger mixed with like new rock kind of stuff. Yeah,
no, it is. I mean, we're borrowing from as far back as the Stones, the Beatles, and up through U2 and the 80s, and Mellencamp, Springsteen, huge influence for me because my dad in particular played them all the time. And then you go through the 90s. So we borrowed from all of that. Yet we do our own twist. We try to make it, relevant today, new. And at the same time, we're very conscious not to be derivative, as many newer acts are right now, who are sort of trying to recapture the past. So even the way we dress, at times I think we're a little too bar bandish in the sense of just being so ordinary when we're on stage. So we're probably spruce it up a little bit for this tour, but we're not going back and trying to dress like we're, Robert Plant, or Aerosmith, likes of that. And it just kind of works for us. We're just blending a lot of different ideas.
That's good.
That's
good stuff.
You definitely, I'm going to take a swing and tell me if I hit the ball or if I miss here. You are a huge fan of Darkness at the Edge of Town or Born to Run, because I hear that kind of the melancholy influence in a lot of your songs.
Yeah, we never listened to either of those albums.
Get out of here.
I actually, I've always said my desert island artists are the Beatles, Bono, as in U2, or the 3 Bs: Beatles, Bono, and Bruce.
Right.
Those are artists. I was a little kid, Beatles before me, and so, but I grew up with them, and they're kind of in my DNA at this point. And but it's funny because actually Darkness is probably, regarding Springsteen, is one of the albums I know the least, but
okay.
you could easily pull The River. There's a lot of similar.
Sure.
That's actually probably my favorite record of his, or album. The melancholy is there also because I'm Greek, or I'm actually half Greek and the other half is Irish. So it's just, that's also in the DNA. It's meant to be kind of miserable and bitch about everything. That's just how I'm wired.
Let me ask you this. I'm talking about Springsteen, because I tend to like the music, but I hate the guy. Wait!
I need a little clarity here. What is it about the man which rubs you wrong?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. And maybe I want to know how you feel about doing politics on stage. Because, I mean, look, I don't give a shit when I go to a concert about your politics. Whatever you like is what you like. All right, I have my own opinions, and I'm more than happy to say it, but I do a podcast.
Yeah.
But when I'm paying $200 for a nosebleed ticket to see a guy sing some songs, I want to see you sing some songs. I mean, do you do politics on stage?
No, I don't like that. Frankly, I don't even like when people speak, for the most part. Now, I know Springsteen goes into his long storytelling, and he's quite remarkable at that. Yeah. I don't appreciate the politics from anyone. In fact, I think it was back in the summer, one of my friends who lives in Austin, he texted me a few shots from seeing Roger Waters. And my friend, meanwhile, is an avid concert goer. I think he actually has quote unquote season tickets at some venue, so he can just go to concerts at will. And he texts me, and then he calls me up like a couple hours later. I'm like, how was the show? He goes, that's still going on. I said, well, why are you calling me? He goes, I left. And I said, why? He said, well, at about the 45-minute mark of Roger's political rant, I had enough, and I decided to go home. So, no, I frankly, I have a lot of opinions, as you do. I have, I have my way of sort of expressing them in the songs, which is a little vague because, frankly, I kind of stand, I don't want to say in the middle, but I stand in an open-minded way. I want to hear everyone's opinion, even if I think you're a little off course. I'd like to hear it. Maybe it'll sway my opinion, and maybe I can write it down and go, such and such is a little off the rails.
Avoid.
I go to a concert, even if our stuff, a lot of it's social political, just because of my taste, the way I write it. But I don't want to hear that. I want to go there and have a moment, an experience, and that stuff. 30, 40 years ago, perhaps it was more relevant to do that stuff because we weren't being beaten over the head like we are every moment of every day now. Now it's like, I want to escape that, you know? So I'm with you.
Right on. Well, Peter, before we start talking about the record itself a little bit, I do want to ask you about Cruz and leaving the band. And you don't need to tell me why or any of that stuff, but I'm curious. You know as well as anybody, the name Pearl Jam got a lot of eyes on you guys initially.
Yeah, it did.
And it did. And that, that's obviously a good thing. At the same time, he leaves the band. I have to imagine that almost made it tough. Like you almost felt like in the press, maybe you had to restart or readjust. How was that transition from him leaving? And did it impact the band, or had you established yourself enough to where it didn't hurt you maybe as much as you thought it might have?
Actually, it was more of a hindrance from the beginning than it was help. It helped us. It helped us booking, let's say, our first round of gigs around the country, because we could use it. We thought we could use it, or the promoters could use it as a selling point. It really wasn't that valuable there at all. Okay. But at least helped us get our feet in the door. Did I say foots?
You said your foots.
Wow. That's right. You can see why I'm the writer of the band. Lyricist. So anyway, but beyond that, no, actually it was quite fatiguing when it would be brought up, and it was especially hard for Dave because it's the last thing he wanted to hear. He was really proud of the work that we were doing, and he felt he just wanted it to be recognized for what it is. So that actually was an element, and a notable element of why he was like, I want to step away. The other element, frankly, was, I'll answer your question more directly in a second. He's a little older than us. He had done some things that maybe we hadn't done yet, and his kids were leaving home, and he sort of wanted some free time, and also he wanted to be able to chase his kids around a little bit, which anyone who has kids completely understands.
Sure.
So he was just, wanted to move on, didn't want to be in a band. He plays with other acts still, but not being in a band is it's a real commitment. So how it affected us, it didn't hurt us really with press at all, because we were distancing ourselves from that. And musically is where we were concerned, because we had really built up a strong chemistry working together. We spent a lot of time on the road together. We were close friends, always texting and calling each other about whatever, especially during COVID, we would really lean on each other. And we thought, how can we find someone who's going to fit in, much less get in quick, because it takes a while usually for that type of chemistry to develop. And so that when you're working together, you can really bare your soul, because we go for it on a lot of stuff, as far as we'll just all throw out ideas, trade ideas that sometimes they're just, like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
But in a good way. It turned out we were fortunate that we were referred to Mark Slutsky, and Mark fit in not just seamlessly, better. And it really elevated us. And so, no, there weren't any hiccups with that. It was actually very smooth. But I get the question, and it makes sense.
Sure. How did the creative element change? Because you guys by that point had a pretty strong way of doing things. Did it change, or was it seamless?
It was pretty seamless. It was it was we had a couple tracks that we borrowed pieces of from our time with Dave, and so we were able to bring that in. And then we also had about 2-3 weeks there where as we were prepping up to record what was originally intended to be an EP, it ended up becoming an LP. We were prepping songs. Myself in particular was getting the ideas together. I'd bring them to Adam, Kevin, and Brina, and we'd suss them out. And we were working with the drum machine, and that was really interesting because I'm none of us are fans of drum machines.
Sure.
as your main player. It's supplemental or for sounds. Sure, I guess that's fine. Still not really our thing. But once Mark came in, I mean, in fact, actually what happened really is we were looking in our circle and couldn't find anyone who we thought was appropriate. And I reached out to John Fields, who mixed Ordinary Sex Appeal, our second EP. Mm-hmm. And John's Grammy award-winning engineer and mix engineer and producer. And he comes from a similar circle as us. So he kind of knew what we needed and had some people to draw from. He recommended Mark as well as Isaac Carpenter. Isaac ended up playing. We worked with both of them. Isaac's ended up playing on Just Getting Started. That's Isaac playing. We wrote that song with him, in fact, within like 30 minutes. But both those guys came in and were like, oh my God, the band's not done. These guys are amazing, not just players, but as people. Mark ended up joining the band. Yeah, I can't remember your question. I'm going on so long here, but but it was really the workflow changed in the sense that we didn't jam as much as we had in the past and building up some songs with Cruisin', but we worked things in. We found a slightly different rhythm that was just as good, if not better. Mark's a little more meticulous, and it really shines on certain songs like "Tell Me This." Baby Hang On, Ghosts, Hold Tight amazingly, and more than anything on Running Out of Words. Mark had a heavy hand because he saw strength in that song before, he and Brina in particular saw strength in that song before the others did, and even more so than myself in some ways, and they really pushed it hard and helped dial it in. And so it was a good passing of the baton.
That's a great tune, by the way. That's when I was listening yesterday. I was digging that tune. You guys are LA guys, right?
Yeah.
So what's a fire situation out by you?
Well, it's look out my window right now. Oh no, I can see it from this room right here.
No,
we're about. I live in Venice Beach. The rest of the guys live around in non-fire areas around the city. And we could all see it, but I definitely, we had the best view. Brina and I, we were actually a week ago, we were getting ready in the morning to go to rehearsal in North Hollywood, which is about 25 miles from here on the other side of town. And I left early. We were driving separately. And as I was going, I told her, I called her and I said, honey, I said, you better plot your course a little different than normal. I said, because there's a huge fire somewhere in Santa Monica. I said, it's massive. And we weren't surprised because the winds were really heavy that morning, and usually heavy winds at this time of year will kick up a fire. And she says, oh, it's not in Santa Monica, it's up in the hills. And she said, I can see the flames. They're huge from our roof. So yeah, we watched the flames for the next few days. It was crazy. It's pretty bad. The last day or so, it's cleared up, but there's still some ash falling.
I don't want to turn this political like we talked about earlier, but who do people in LA blame for this stuff? I've heard people are blaming Trump for this. I've heard people are blaming Newsom for this. I heard people are blaming the illegal that they picked up with a blowtorch today. I mean, who are the locals blaming for these fires? Obviously, it's this stuff happens all the time out in LA.
I mean, I had a friend who was over today earlier, and she lives in Malibu, and her and her husband have a nice home, and theirs was one of only like 2 or 3 in their block, so to speak, their bluff that was saved. I think there were like another 7 or 8 others that were all burned out. And we were talking about it, and there's a lot of blame for the city. I mean, I definitely have my pet peeves with the city for a number of reasons. And I don't like to speak much about politics really, but I'll say they're thoroughly incompetent here. And they've been for a long time. I've said it for a long time. They don't deserve an ounce of our support. They don't deserve $1 of our money. And at the same time, a lot of folks keep voting them in for reasons I don't know. I think it's because they're really not paying attention. Well, I know because of corruption, because one of my friends used to be involved in it, not in the corruption, but in working with them. So there's that. But frankly, a lot of folks, I've had a couple other friends who lost their homes in the Palisades. One of them, he grew up, born and raised there, and they all knew the same thing. This is fire country. If someone said to you, "Hey, LA had a bad earthquake," would you be like, "Oh my God, they had an earthquake"? No, true. Like, oh, LA had an earthquake. You knew it was coming. Same with fires. We get fires in these areas every single year. Every year. If not more than once a year. This was unusual in that they all struck at once at a time when we had unusually heavy winds, but not unprecedented heavy winds.
Sure.
So people need to accept that when you build in these hot spots that have always been hot spots, this will happen, and prepare accordingly.
Well, I didn't mean to get political on you. I just know that it's nice to get a perspective from somebody that actually lives there, because all we do is hear the news reports and all the, people from the outside.
It's all tilted.
Don't get me wrong. This was nasty. I mean, I could here. Check this out. I'll pull up my phone here, see if you guys can see this. Let's see here. Let's see this one here. Can you guys see this? Let's see.
Put you on full
There's a reflection. There we go.
There you go.
That was the view from our roof. That's looking east.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, we climbed up on the roof. Or no, that's from a window. Yeah.
Oh my
crazy,
God.
Right?
Man.
Oh, wow.
That's nuts.
Yeah, we have our son just turned 4, and he hasn't been out of the house in nearly a week now. And needless to say, Breen is about ready to throw him through a wall.
Let me ask you
Stay
this.
safe out there, man. Stay safe.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, he's leaving. That's kind of my question. You're getting ready to leave. Are you nervous about leaving?
No. I mean, no. I mean, we're look, if our neighborhood goes down, well, from those fires, there'll be bigger problems in the world. No, I mean, I feel horrible about this stuff, but we should be prepared for it. I mean, these are things that can happen. I mean, I shed tears over it when I heard some stories, and especially from a couple of my friends, because I know these areas very well. They're beautiful, but there's a reason. I shouldn't say there's a reason. They're prone to fires. That's just sadly so.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, dude, since we mentioned you're leaving, let's talk about your leaving. You're going out on a great tour. I mean, you're going out with Myles Kennedy. I'll say this as somebody that has seen him perform solo. I've seen him in all his iterations with Slash, with Alter Bridge, and of course solo. I don't think people understand what they're getting ready to see with Myles. Everybody always thinks he's this mild-mannered acoustic performer solo. He's not. Like, he brings it really hard. Are you familiar with what he does solo, and are you adjusting your music to be kind of heavier or more rockin' to accommodate who you're playing with?
No, I'm not as familiar with his solo acoustic work. I've heard a few tracks online, and sound amazing. And by all accounts, from our close friends who've worked with him, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
As is Tim Montana, who's on the bill. In fact, Adam, our bass player, had a chance to meet Tim a few months back when Adam was playing with Candlebox, and they were doing a couple weeks worth of dates with Tim.
Right.
And no, and we're not adjusting. We do our thing, and that's it. And it's funny because that those thoughts always will cross your mind. Should I adjust? And before we even had a chance for those thoughts to really become a conversation in the band, a number of folks in the industry, journalists or podcasters such as you guys said to us, "Oh, this is a great lineup for you guys. You won't have to change a thing because it's a lot of really open-minded rock people."
True.
And it should be a good balance of acts. 'Cause Tim will probably be the heaviest, will be the lightest, and Myles will be somewhere in between. But we're just a good rock and roll band, and and we deliver it pretty honestly. So I think that's what most good rock fans want.
Sure. How do you choose a set list now? Do you choose what you think people? I mean, you've had a couple of hits, obviously, on Billboard and whatnot, so I'd imagine those, of course, make it. But how do you choose? Do you choose basically of a live flow, or do you choose on what you want to share with people so that they maybe gravitate to the band? How do you make that choice?
It's hard now because we're accumulating a bunch of good songs that are starting to get really well known, and so you choose it carefully, and you have to cut some stuff out that you don't want to cut out, and then maybe swap songs here and there. But basically, in this particular case, the focus is on the new album, obviously, and with one song from each of the first 2 EPs, and that's and then you sort of adjust where you need going along. But generally, we're going to keep to pretty much the same set most nights.
Okay.
Simply for no other reason than most people still, an overwhelming majority of people don't know us or have never seen us live. Right. So if we start pulling songs, we're probably going to be pulling songs that are among our better ones to make that first impression with.
Do you want to? This is the only way that you can really make money these days, right? Going on tour and trying to push the merchandise through the tours and stuff like that. Is it really difficult?
On Spotify.
Oh, I'm sure. All the money's rolling in from those plays on Spotify. But is it that difficult these days to make money being a rock band?
Is it hard?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I mean, do you want to kick the people from Spotify like in the fucking face and say, "Quit stealing my money"? How are bands in general going to take back their music?
To put it all on Spotify is completely unfair. I think it's Apple, Amazon. The issue probably goes back to the days of Steve Jobs, when Steve Jobs said, "Well, 10 songs, $10 for an album, then that's $1 for each song." Why on earth the record labels let him get away with that is beyond me. But that the gauntlet was thrown, or whatever, however you say it, at that point, and everything fell apart. And not to say that the system before that was all that great, but it's this can't last. I could go into details about, and I don't care about saying this. I'm actually happy to say it, but I'm not going to go into details. I'll just say it generally.
Sure.
I could go into details about the way in which Spotify operates, and these things are starting to come out now. That it's a joke. It's a joke. The streams are a joke. The playlists are a joke. More and more, the artists you hear on there aren't real artists. So yes, the only real way to make money is the one real thing they can't steal at this point, which is your performance.
Do you think it's going to change?
Do I think it's going to change? Not anytime soon. It will eventually change. There'll be a disruptor that will come along. But even the model of subscription doesn't really work, at least in the music industry. I can't speak to let's say TV or film. But in the music industry, it doesn't work. So look, I love performing live, so it's great, and I love meeting and hanging out with fans. It's going to our merch booth as we do every show and talking to people. It's nearly as rewarding as actually playing on stage, or fun. But it's a grind, and to know that your music's out there is wonderful. But at the same time, to know that other folks, some of these streaming services and the likes, are making a lot of money, or pretending to make a lot, because a lot of this is fake,
right?
And to help boost their stock prices and the likes, to know that they're making money off of your back, it's frustrating. But I just sort of set that aside and plow through. But eventually. Yeah, it's truly a house of cards.
What about the future of AI with music? I mean, we're able to go online, use AI to create a rock song. It sounds like a rock song. It sounds like Metallica's freaking singing on our computer with words we just plug and play.
Well,
is AI something that is concerning to bands?
We've had that for a number of years in a different form where people can just sort of drop stuff into, drop loops and chord progressions into their, Logic or what's a garage band and put stuff out there and sort of crowd the market. That's been going on for a while. And I think, I think a song, speaking for ourselves, a song like Running Out of Words speaks for itself. If you look at the video just came out on Friday. I think we're around 50,000 views in 3 days, which is great for a band like us. And if you look at the comments on YouTube, for instance, in spite of YouTube being a really great payer, that it overwhelmingly reaches people because it's genuine, and it is genuine. Every single note, every lyric in that song comes from our hearts, and people see that, they hear it, and they want to go see a show. So that's great. But I lost my train of thought again. I'm sorry. I'm tired. I slept like 3 hours last night.
I just think that I think we need to.
The AI thing. But here's a problem with it. When you have a subscription service, right? And so effectively, it's divvying up the pie, so to speak, to the various artists. Well, when you find out that the different streaming services are putting in their own AI projects or their works for hire, hiring 1 or 2 people to go make thousands of tracks, that crowds out the space. And then when they promote the playlists that they promote those songs on more favored playlists, that sort of drives down the revenue that has to go out of the companies to artists such as myself and the U2s and the likes of that. So at some point that model can't exist because the artists aren't making any money. They'll start going elsewhere. I mean, like, frankly, if I could figure out a good way, and I've been working on it, I know a bunch of artists are as well, to not put our music on Spotify and just get it out there enough to our core group of fans, I'd do it. Why? Why not try something different? Because these guys aren't helping me really much.
What do you think of Bandcamp? Or is that another one?
Bandcamp's fine. But it's not really it's because of the way in which it operates, it's not as friendly to your average listener, even someone like myself. I mean, Spotify is go on there and grab whatever you want, which is amazing because it keeps all this catalog at your fingertips. I mean, think about it. When we were kids growing up, did you listen to Frank Sinatra much? No, you didn't listen to anything that you couldn't get a hold of easily. Sure. So now you can. So it makes everything that's existed very new. It could be even Bach's concertos, the Brandenburg concertos that you'd have, who wants to, when you're 12, 15, 20 years old, go out and buy the Brandenburg concertos? No one's doing it now. Right. You'll flip that stuff on in a moment because
just to see if you like.
But you know what though? It's depressing that I can't go to a Best Buy and go to a section that has CDs and albums and pick up something that I could take home with me, open up, look at liner notes, look at lyrics, and I can't do that anymore.
You got to go to a show. You have to or order it directly from the band.
Yeah,
that's I mean, in all fairness, though, back in the days of when it was Best Buy, or when you even had like the big Virgin Mega stores, or you go to Target,
Capital, or wherever,
whatever. Yeah,
some of the all-in-one, but back to the all-in-one stores, like you were mentioning, those were lost leaders. Walmart. They were always lost leaders. They were there to draw people to the stores and then buy, items where, there was actually a profit that could be made.
Sure.
So selling of music has never, hasn't really been a very profitable thing for very long. I mean, 100+ years ago, people were, writing songs and on a daily basis that were sort of like news calls, because they'd write a song about, the war with Spain, or they write a song about the invasion of Panama or something, or building the canal. But there was money made in publishing there, but the actual recording audio is a very brief window in time where it was truly profitable. Because right now, the money is very circular. What's going on? If people look at the details, it's kind of flowing out of the labels to the artists who spend money to promote themselves, get on playlists, pay for virtual machines to get hooked up around the world and play their music, which that's a whole other can of worms. And even at that, still Spotify until recently has had a tough time making money. And then Apple, I hate to say it about Apple, you guys have been great to us with your playlisting and the likes. They don't care about music that much. They just don't. You know, and can you blame them? I mean, it's such a small thing.
Well, and look, I'm going to take the focus off of the technology for a minute, and I'm just going to go back to a core thing, which is I don't think I'm 56. My generation, probably from like the people that are now 40 to 60, that generation, we did a terrible job teaching our kids to value music. Like for us, I mean, come on. You grabbed an album, whatever it was, Springsteen, Stones, whatever. You learned every word that was written in it. You learned every producer. You knew every person that played a triangle on this song or whatever. You knew their name. We did not instill that in the current generation. And now we're seeing the result.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with you on that, though. I think it's just the nature of the times. The kids, look, music's all around us now. I was thinking, it's really funny. The other day, like a week or two ago, I was flipping through YouTube. You know what? You ever do something like with YouTube where you sort of get on the
rabbit hole?
Yeah, right. And they go on for a few days because as soon as you watch a few of a certain type of video, they all of a sudden start popping up in your feed. So, I got him one about watching stuff from like the 1800s and how people lived, where they lived, blah, 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 blah. So there was this one where what a meal was like in 1820s, backwater of the United States.
Okay.
So it shows this scene where this woman is cooking a meal at her home and the process she goes through, and it was pretty interesting. And then I realized it was so quiet. She's in this homestead out, let's say somewhere in the northern Midwest, and it's just quiet and serene. I'm thinking, wow, like at our house, a lot of my friends' houses, you'd hear music playing in the background. You can't do it. Even kids before streaming, I mean, you have to go put a CD on. You'd have to, before that, vinyl or a cassette. So we live with it constantly around us in the background. So our kids, it's kind of like, plentiful water. It's just always there. You take it for granted. You drip it all over yourself. You throw it around the house, blah, blah, blah. That's how it is. But I got to tell you, my son, he knows how to work a turntable because we showed him my friends similar things. And he knows the music to everyone from U2 to the tiny time capsule, kids show. So I think they do. It's just they consume it in a different way. They're not as, it's not as much of a ritual as it once was.
Right on. Well, man, you're obviously going out on tour with Myles and with Tim Montana. What follows? Do you have something coming beyond that, or is that seeing how this goes and then adjusting from that?
No, we're looking to be out on the road again late spring, early summer. We have we have a few things penciled in right now, and I expect by the end of the Myles tour we'll have that inked up. And we want to keep going through the year as hard as we can. We're hoping, look, frankly, we're hoping to get in 80 to 100 or more dates.
Nice.
Mostly,
about time.
Yeah, that's definitely about time.
Well, we want you to come to Cleveland because nothing ever comes here.
We're
the rock and roll capital of the world. Apparently, we don't get any shows to come here anymore.
Because you're like royalty. We're in awe.
Right? Yeah, that's it. I'm sure that's it. That's perfect. Our city sucks. That's why nobody comes here anymore.
No, but I genuinely love Cleveland. I love Cleveland. When you're not getting
shot downtown or slipping on ice, I think you're okay. But
is downtown that bad now?
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous.
It's not that great.
It's not quite Detroit, but we're climbing fast.
We want to get some good music here, man. I'm sick and tired. I have this theory about music these days, rock music anyway. Just a bunch of pussies out there playing crap pussy rock, and I want to hear some good rock music. I listened to you guys yesterday. You guys are good rock. We need a resurgence of rock music, and it needs to start coming back to this town. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city's got nothing. It's pathetic. So we need more music like you guys.
Well, We almost made it. We almost had a fill-in gig on this tour. Not fill-in, but like on an off day, we almost did a club gig, but we couldn't get the dates to line up. So no, I would actually be very surprised if we're not in Cleveland, by sometime this summer. That would.
I know. I want to see it. Where can people buy your stuff? Since we're talking about,
Yeah, we're not going to tell them go to Spotify. Where should we tell them to go buy something?
You actually can buy it on Spotify now. But you just go to our website, sonsofsilver.com. We have a great web store there. We actually have a new merch fulfillment company that's really helped us refine our designs. So we have some great new stuff. You can get vinyl, you can get CDs, signed stuff, unsigned stuff. It's sonsofsilver.com. That's the place to go.
Very good. Well, dude, let's wrap this up by giving people a taste of running out of words. Tell us about the video. Tell us about the song to wrap it up.
The song is the story of our journey as a band and the emotions. It comes from the emotions and the trials and tribulations we had to go through and the ones we still see coming up ahead. And it's a very, very personal song. And it's one of my favorite songs I've ever written or co-written. And the music video was shot at our rehearsal space here in Venice. It's actually a temporary space for us. It's an old warehouse that was once a gondola storage house back in the day. And my son, or Brian and our son, is in the video because he lends himself to the story of a reckoning with the past, with the present, and sort of looking at the future. And I want to add that it was shot by Ryan Calavano, who's shot nearly all of our music videos, and he did a really good job. And we're really happy with this video. It's meant to be portray us in a very genuine situation because frankly we had tried shooting the music video earlier in the year, and we tried to sort of act out some stuff and.
No,
I don't even think it'll make the D reels someday. I think we could be the biggest band in the world, and that will still never leave. One of those things like, oh, that'll be fun to laugh at now.
Nope.
And I told him, I warned him, I said, you want me to act? Me? No.
Very good, man. Well, one more time, the band is Sons of Silver, out on tour with Myles Kennedy. If it comes near you, go see it. It'll be a great night out. Runaway Emotions is the album. Go buy it. You can stream it too, I guess, but stream it after you buy it. How's that? Buy it so that you have something to hang on your wall, and stream it so that you can hear it.
There you go.
And Peter, as always, man, this has been fun, and good luck on the tour, and we'll see you eventually when you come here to Cleveland.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming. I'm a big fan, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Seth, Chris. Once again, thank you. Really appreciate it. You guys are great.
You, brother. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
All right.
All right. See you
later.
Seth Williams loves this land, stands tall and proud. Believes in freedom, speaks his mind out loud. Mentored by Trip, he learned to be tough. Life knocked him down, but he got back up. Lost a leg, but he's still strong and true. Chasing dreams under skies of red, white, and blue. Voting for Trump, he shouts it clear. WTAM tried to bring him down, but he's still here. In the heart of America, Seth takes a stand. Against the tides, he defends our land. Liberals call him crazy, but he don't care. He's got the spirit of an eagle, soaring high in the air. Hates LeBron James, won't wear that crown. Prefers hard work and blue jeans in this town. Radio waves try to shut him up, but Seth keeps singing, filling that cup. From the small town streets to the mountain high, Seth sees the flag waving, reaching for the sky. He keeps on fighting with a rebel yell for every fallen soldier and the stories they tell. In the heart of America, Seth takes a stand. Against the tides, he defends our land. Liberals call him crazy, but he don't care. He's got the spirit of an eagle, soaring high in the air. From the small town streets to the mountain high, Seth sees the flag waving, reaching for the sky. He keeps on fighting with a rebel yell, for every fallen soldier and the stories they tell. In the heart of America, Seth takes a stand. Against the tides, he defends our land. Liberals call him crazy, but he don't care. He's got the spirit of an eagle, soaring high in the air.
Seth and Chris don't say it enough, but the best place for everything associated with The Seth Williams Show is their website, www.thesethwilliamsshow.com. You can watch all live episodes of the show live right there on the site. You can get past shows in both audio and video on demand formats. You can join our exclusive VIP programs on Minds and Super Chat right from the page. You can also purchase all the Best Seth Show merchandise on the page as well. Bookmark it today, www.thesethwilliamsshow.com.